welcome to the Southwestern PA Business Podcast, hosted through the Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce with the Upper St. Clair Public Access TV. Thanks, Mitch, back there. We thank you so much for doing all that you do. Today we have a super fun episode, totally outside the box from what we normally do. So we are bringing in Steel City Improv training with Justin and Christopher, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff. So you're definitely going to want to watch this program or listen in. We'll try to make it as audio wonderful as we can. So anyway, let's get started and bring out our improv guests for today. Christopher and Justin, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I'm excited. We have a table today. This is new. I am wearing leggings for flexibility.
Oh, good. Yeah, you guys stay flexible.
Yeah, we're ready to get started. So tell me a little bit about what you guys do, your roles, and how you help businesses out there.
Sure. You want to take this one, Justin?
Oh.
Have at it.
Yeah, well, Steel City Improv Training is an offshoot of what we started, my wife and I, in 2010, a place called Steel City Improv Theater. Mainly the focus for me was, the reason I started the theater was I wanted to teach people improvisation. I think it's the most amazing thing, that when you learn it, it affects the rest of your life, in all parts of your life. And then I found out pretty shortly after doing that, realizing that there's a thing called applied improvisation. So it's taking the lessons of learning improv and applying it to the rest of your life. And I was like, this is great. Especially, and I mean, Pittsburgh is not exactly like, the big place to become an actor necessarily, right?
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you can. There are people that in fact, we've had some former students who make a living a little bit as an actor at both theater and film and television here.
Looking for the tax credit, right?
Right. Well, my wife actually has had more acting gigs here since we moved from New York in 2010. She's had more acting gigs here, so there you go.
She's a big fish in a little pond now.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, that's why we started doing it, and just recently kind of shifted the theater ideas of what we're doing that, and we really wanted to focus more on doing the applied improvisation for companies and for organizations. And I pulled in Chris to partner with me because he'd been our teacher of ours back before he had his kids, as we were talking about kids right before we
long time.
And he was more available, and we said, let's do this. And so we started doing more and more of this, and he's been just gung-ho ever since this last year or so.
That's good. I'm so sorry he pulled you into all this.
Yeah, well, I've been around for a while, so it was a natural move.
It was a natural move. And so backgrounds.
Chris has been there from the beginning, actually. I think in 2011 is when you took your first class.
Yeah, I started taking classes there. I went through all the classes, then I started teaching the classes, and then doing these corporate workshops also. So I've been around quite a while, yeah.
That's good. And I, back in the day, I went to school for English literature. And then I minored in theater, so I was actually going for script writing as an extension of my English literature major, which I'm obviously a writer now, like you see me writing in New York. But I did take a couple improv classes. Now, I know that you guys probably don't know this, but I was extremely, I want to say camera shy, stage fright, the whole thing. For years. I mean... To the point I couldn't talk. Like, I would get so nervous on stage doing auditions, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, I can do this. So I'm not that person anymore, obviously. I'm like in front of audiences all the time. I've grown, I've flowered as a, in-person speaker, but I'm ready to have fun with you guys today.
Yeah.
So I am very apprehensive of what you've put on the table in front of me.
Yeah, we put some building blocks, some generic building blocks, so as to not give anybody any free plugs.
Yeah, none.
And I just thought it would be kind of fun, something to do. Just can you look through here and pick something maybe you want to build, or just wing it.
So I have to say that I am,
doing it personally.
and my children know this, not nimble with my hands, and B, terrible with Legos. So this is absolutely a horrible nightmare for me. I can't wait.
Well, and then if you don't want to, we have the booklet there, but like if you just want to just kind of look at colors and be inspired and just grab something while we're talking, that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just ripping off hot ones. That's all we're doing. Except for there's no spicy and there's no milk.
Oh, that's good.
There's no spicy foods or milk.
What kind of book is this?
It's
just a classic.
Little
it has like the
instruction
classic
book,
caricatures.
Yes, and just some small little things you can build with it. In
Oh,
fact,
man.
I said just be inspired. I'm just like, I just want to grab certain colors. I just want to grab.
So I can
some
just
of
build
these.
anything?
Yeah.
Anything you want. Yeah, while we talk.
Oh, man. I might have to
hear
go
that? Can
off.
they hear that? Can
That's
they
my
hear that?
alarm
Can
on
they
my
hear your
phone.
alarm?
What should I do? Should I run off stage? I'm going to dramatically flee the stage.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Yeah, you gotta.
How did
you're
I-
tethered.
All right.
There you go.
All right,
There you go.
I'm dramatically leaving. I'm giving them
Okay.
a fresh start here.
Okay. Well, we're gonna start building.
I'm still here.
Yeah, we know. We're just lost in our creativity.
That's right.
Ooh, I like this so far. I'm having fun.
And head back.
All
Hey,
right.
we're back.
I'm already behind. Feed this through again.
Your phone is on airplane mode. Yeah.
It's on vibrate. Yes.
Don't worry,
okay.
it makes it part of, it makes it part of the show if you run off stage.
Yeah, of course.
I like to be dramatic.
There you go.
Okay, so now I'm going to go with my instinct here, which is the pinks and purples,
There you go.
There you go. See?
Awesome.
and I'm going to build something. I don't know what yet.
That's all you do. Just build something. All right. So now it's going to be a bunch of dead air, just us.
Just building.
For those listening,
For those
we're just
listening
grabbing
today,
weird.
well, let
blocks.
me ask some questions while
Sure.
we're doing this. So, Justin, how did you get started in improv? Lifelong dream?
Lifelong inability to memorize lines. I was pretty bad at it. But also always wanting to mix things up. So whenever I would have a small role in something, like I had a small role in South Pacific in high school.
Yes.
We did South Pacific. And, you know, my director was really kind of very kind and actually gave my character a name. So he was Seaman Hayes, and it's not in the script, just like Seaman number 2 or whatever, right? and I had a line. On my line, I had like 2 lines, I think. And one of my lines was, we know why you want to go to Bali High, and it's not boar's teeth, it's women. That was my line.
Oh, yeah?
And so I prided myself on being one of the people that when people would look, people would be in the wings, they would peek their head out to see how I was going to say it that evening. I always said it a little bit different, you know. I do different physicalities, things like that. So it'd be like, we know why you want to go to Bali High. It ain't bows teeth, it's women. I do all kinds of weird gestures and things like that. So I was always trying to mix it up and make it fresh. So improvisation just made sense.
Oh, no.
Oh no! Although
I would say I cannot do a script either. I don't know what that is. Like, it makes me 100% more nervous to come up with something that's pre-scripted than me just blabbing on and on.
Interesting. That's
It is
yeah.
interesting.
That's usually the opposite of most people. They want to be so scripted, you know. Because at times we're with some of our clients, they're like, you know, I've had a few clients, we have one actually coming up, we won't say the name of it, but that they're so scripted, they were like, they wanted to have a lot of meetings with us. It was really interesting. And I've had another one where they actually came to us specifically. It was a company that specifically works on evaluating employees for their leadership roles. And they're all basically psychologists. Majority of the people that work there. It was actually started by 2 psychologists. So they are very scripted.
Really?
So much so that they wanted to learn improvisation from us and add it into their training. Because
Well,
they
and I
knew-
think it makes it feel more natural too, especially
Yeah.
when you're presenting in companies. You know, I listen to all my elevator pitches to my members, and I have to say the ones that are off the cusp that you have 3 things to point out are better than the ones who are like, I'm going to say A, B, C, and D in exact order, and then I'm going to mess it up halfway through, and then I'm going to I'm going to get nervous, my voice will start shaking. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, just breathe into it. Know your like 3 topics that you're going to talk about. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think improv definitely helps with your, you know, getting confident in being able to just speak off the cuff, right?
Yes.
Because in improv we say that we celebrate mistakes instead of dwelling on them and worrying
That's
about
important.
them.
And that's one of the things I learned, and I'm sure my chamber members know this, is that if I mess up, I'm probably going to make a joke. I'm going to poke fun at myself
Yeah.
or make a joke or try to like laugh it off, because if you stand up there and you go, oh my God, everybody's staring
Yeah.
at me. Like, I got to the point where I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Like, laugh at me. That's why I'm up here.
Right, I mean, yeah, because when you're in the middle of a scene, if you accidentally say something wrong or negate something that happened earlier in the scene that you might have forgotten about, you can't just stop and say, hey, wait, hang on, audience, hang on a second, let us reset.
Hold on, everybody,
you
stop.
you have
Especially
to.
like on stage or on
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
front of an audience,
Yes.
like a live audience.
So you just have to deal with it in the moment and figure out a way between the two of you, you and your scene partner, how to just, move forward. So, and then sometimes the scene ends up being even better than it would have because you take the mistake and you run with it, and it turns out great.
Well, that's good. And so, how can businesses like incorporate this into what they do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is which I think we're all doing right now is hopefully, and you're actually killing it by making 3 things already.
Apparently, I'm
thought
not.
you said you weren't good at this.
We're good at this. We're
Apparently, I'm more nimble than I
we're
thought.
looking worse at it. I don't even
I would
know
say I'm
what my
like a
thing
bull
is.
in a china shop. Like as soon as my poor kids, they'll build like these fantastic things, and then 2 seconds later, I'll be like, and the whole thing, and I'm like, I'm sorry. They start crying, and I'm like, I'm the worst. I'm the worst. I can't touch your stuff. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think that what it is sometimes it's just like getting out of your own way, and we try to teach people that mistakes are gifts. That if you make a mistake, it's actually a gift. Like what Chris was talking about, like an example in a scene might be that at the beginning of the scene, you called the character a specific name. You said, hey, John, how are you? And then later on, you call him Steve, right? And you'd be like, the audience all knows it, and you may have just forgotten. You maybe didn't say their name enough. A lot of times I tell my students, say the character's name at least 3 times.
I don't need it.
That way you're going to know the name, and so is the audience going to know the name of the character. But let's say you still mess up, you still call that guy Steve. That's an opportunity for the other player, or even yourself, to justify did you say that weird thing, right? Why did you say the wrong name?
Steve's a great funny name.
It's a good funny name.
Steve.
And it's also just be like, how dare you call me by my father's name?
My father.
Right? You make it like really dramatic. Now it means something, right? Del Close, who's the kind of the father of modern improvisation, used to say that people should do this work as though they're a little bit paranoid, right? Because that means everything means something. Even something that may sound like it doesn't mean anything. Like, oh, he just said the wrong name, no big deal. Oh no, it means something. You're trying to get under my skin talking about my dad, And it's not what that means. No, it's made an improviser making a mistake, But yeah, everything is a gift. That's really what we try to teach our students. And that works in business too. I mean, one of the perfect examples I always love to point to is, do you know the story of Post-it notes?
Well, I am Romy from Romy and Michelle's high school.
You are? Oh, is that part of the plot? I don't remember.
Her father, they invented the glue for Post-its.
Oh, there you go. Well, in the real
But they
story,
really did. But she knew the formula.
the scientist who made that glue was trying to make a super glue that would never be torn apart. But it didn't make anything stick together except for pieces of paper on a wall, right? And normally that would be thrown away, but maybe you can reuse it in some way, right? Looking at a different angle, inventive problem solving kind of thing, which I've actually worked with a gentleman who's now at Cornell, was at Carnegie Mellon, named Jim Antaki, who teaches a class about that. It's called inventive problem solving. And he had me come in and do some improvisation to kind of get their minds open to really, turning the problem upside down and looking at it from different angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's important even in what you do on the day-to-day in business. Is like, things are going to happen, things are going to go wrong, but look at what's going wrong, and then it might turn into something even better than what you thought in the first place.
Right,
Exactly.
especially.
You have to keep your mind open. You cannot have like a closed mind. This is my set of rules at work.
Right.
This is how I have to do it. And some people are like that, and they need that structure.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. Unfortunately, my poor board. They know I'm like, and I have another idea, and an idea about this. And they're like, Mandy, and I'm like, I'll make it work. Luckily, I'm a pusher, so I'm like, oh, I got it. It's all in my head. So, I think it's important to see if things go right or things go wrong. Especially, I'm in events. There is not, I can say, one event that's ever gone off without something being wrong.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's always something.
Always
I mean, little did anyone know. Last year at my holiday event, I have table sponsors, right? They buy a table of 10, and their whole company comes in. It's a merry time. Well,
Right.
it's too bad for my one sponsor. who I won't name right now,
Right.
but his table didn't exist.
Oh,
'Cause
no.
I forgot to put the sponsorship, so people started sitting at it.
Oh, no.
And then we just had to like literally bring a table out, lift it over, because it had to be in the middle of the room, of course. It couldn't be off
Right.
to the side,
No,
their
no.
sponsor, and put it in the middle. And like, no one said a word, and everybody sat down. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, good.
you just have to go
You
with
gotta
it.
go with the flow.
Things
Yeah.
happen.
Right.
It
Exactly.
happens, you just have to go with it.
And then if you have a team also supporting you who can help you solve the problem, then that's even better.
Yeah.
You know, and the other big thing we teach, especially our corporate clients, is, you know, how to collaborate more effectively as well. That gets into the whole, you know, main principle of improv, which is this little phrase, yes and, which means that we're taking the information given to us by our scene partner, saying yes to that
Yeah.
situation, and then adding our ideas on top of it, right? So that's how you kind of build a scene, by going back and forth and saying, okay, you just said, you know, that you're my doctor. So yes, you're my doctor and I'm your patient. So where am I going to go from here in the scene? So if you switch that over to the corporate world, if you're talking about, you know, being in a meeting with a group of people and, you know, John throws out an idea and you're like, I don't like John's idea. That's terrible.
Yeah.
And then people just kind of leave it on the table and move on. Well, no, what we want to teach people to do is really accept every idea and try to build on it. So yes,
Try to
I
figure
see
out-
what you're doing, John, and what if we did this? And then the next person would yes and that, and now you're all having a conversation and you're innovating
So
together.
you're making a more collaborative environment
Exactly.
through opening people's minds to others' ideas, rather
Right,
than
and
saying-
building on every
because
idea that's
sometimes
thrown out.
they'll give you ideas, but you don't get it because they aren't explaining. Not everybody is great at explaining
Right.
their ideas. So if you're going in and you're talking like, well, here's my idea, and maybe one other person in that room is like, I get it. So your idea is this, and then we can do this with it. And then hopefully the others are like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I see how that could work, or a part of that could work, or a piece of it. So that's really interesting. What size companies do you guys work with?
Oh, wide range.
Yeah.
Wide range of companies.
Like what's
So
like
the
small size, larger?
The smallest one, I just worked with a research physician and her lab team, so that was only 7 people. The largest
Intensive.
one, yes. The largest one we've done, I don't know, over 100 maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I've definitely done ones where, like a lot of times for orientation for some colleges, we'll do some orientation type of things. And one time I did do it in a lecture hall in which I think we had over 100 students going to a business school. So we did, it was more like a lecture with examples in a way, you know. So what we did was we had like I had 2 other facilitators hand out different letters so that they knew you're part of group A, group B, C, D, E, and I'd get them up to do certain segments of it so that it was still participatory, but we couldn't get all 100 up at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it depends,
actually-
you know, if we have a larger group and they have more space, we'll split into, you know, if there's 60 people, Justin and I will both go and we'll each take 30 so that, you know, we try to make it as interactive for everyone as possible. So if there is a larger group, you know, we get everybody up so they're participating just as much or as close to it as if we have a smaller group and, you know, the same amount of time
Yeah.
with you know, fewer
So
people.
everybody, you don't want to be the person left out.
Right.
Really?
Right. And everything's customizable.
Although some people probably are like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Go right ahead. Go
You know,
right ahead.
I will say this is, we do get resistance, and we can, you know, having done this for a long time, we really can. I can see that resistance, and I can see when someone's like, I don't really want to do this, but I can see them slowly melt. You know, that they slowly start accepting it and going, okay, I like this. This is fun. Hey, that wasn't as hard as I thought. You know, we really try to take away a lot of those fears that people have when they hear the word improv, right?
Yes.
Because first of all, they think of stand-up, right? Because of the improvisation. Why he named it that, I don't know.
Don't do that.
But they think
Scary.
of stand-up, and I say that's not what we teach. And then they also think that they have to be, you know, perfect at it. They have to be funny. I also absolve them of the need to be funny, and tell them that they don't have to tell a joke, you know. And the first one I actually usually say is there's going to be no trust falls.
Yeah.
During this workshop, right? People think most workshops are about if they're standing on their feet, we're going to do some trust falls. We're not going to do any of that stuff. So I try to abate those fears right away, and then we try to just get stuff that kind of, as an old improv teacher of mine used to say, get them off kilter, but on target. So like,
Sure.
because I'm throwing them off a little bit, believe it or not, they're actually going towards the target. They don't realize it.
You're going towards the target.
The target of really like connecting with each other, making eye contact. Because the rules of the games that we teach make you have to do that.
Make you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
Well, go ahead.
okay. I was going to say we try to ease them into it a little bit.
Yeah. Not
We
jumping
start
right
with
in.
we start with kind of the basics, like I said, the yes and, kind of teaching them the basic principles of what improvisation is all about. Because some people, when we first get there, I say, who knows what improv is, and like 2 people have seen Whose Line Is It Anyway, and kind of explain what it is, and then people start getting afraid. They're like, "Oh, that's comedy." Huh.
Oh my God.
But yeah, we ease them into it. So like by the end, they can kind of see, oh, I see how that connected to what we did earlier in the day, and it's kind of all coming together. By the end, so we kind of like a slow burn throughout the the workshop.
Slow burn.
Yeah.
Well, and if you guys have you been to my coffee hour before?
I have, yeah.
So during most of my coffee hours, unless it's like standing room, I always have people say their name and their company, and then I ask a question. And there's a method to this madness. I'm not just asking. All right, some of it is just to amuse myself. Like the last one was like best Halloween costume, best Halloween memory, worst Halloween memory. So I throw these out there, and there's a reason I do it. It's because here's a general commercial. Hi, my name is Mandy Pryor, and I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, and I connect people. Thank you. And you're like, that's great. But if you ask somebody like, I'm not going to repeat my story. It was really funny, but
What? No. You have to come on.
no, because I
Have
have
you
to
done
do
it on
an
this
accent.
already? Oh, I see. Yeah. No.
Anyway, so
Okay.
I don't know if I could
You
pull
don't
it
have
off
to do
today.
the accent.
Maybe.
All right.
So instead I was, I'm like, what's your Halloween? And people start talking about bad stuff, good stuff, even just a nice memory. But they get animated and they light up and they get show themselves. Like that's what I'm trying to do, is get them to show themselves more than they're like, yes, and I do insurance and I want to protect people, which is great. We want to know what you're doing, but getting people to start talking about themselves more intimately, which is what I also suggest when they go out for coffee. I'm like, find out if they have a dog, if you have a dog. Like find out about the other person, get to know the other person.
Right.
Then the sales will come. Because if you're just saying, I want to sell to you today, you're like, you sell insurance, and so does he, and so does she, and so do they, and so, it gets people to be expressive and like be who they are.
Yeah,
I think that helps people to connect better.
Yeah, it's all about the connection. I teach clients about that. I also do some one-on-one work with clients who are looking to either be more confident in public speaking or even just get better at networking. Right, and that's really what I tell them is,
there's an element of nervousness with networking. Like even for myself, I went to the Pittsburgh Athena Awards, and that's I went through the tunnels. It's been a while.
Across
and
the
I
river?
would say I knew 10% in that room of 300. Wow. I was just as nervous as you guys going into my events when there's 300 people. Like I was like, hi, I run a chamber. And then finally I found somebody, I was like, oh, thank God. I see somebody I know. Thank you for saving me from myself and my worries and my apprehension. So I'm right there with you. Like, I think it's important to get people out there and do what they don't generally do.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it's all about the connection. If you're just constantly trying to sell people, they're not going to be interested really in what you have to say. Whereas if you just make it like a normal conversation, like you just met them at a bar or something and happened to run into them. Hi, what's your name? And just be personable and show your own personality. That's what people connect with. They're not going to connect with, a robotic pitch, right? Because who wants to hear those? It's just really about making that human connection and building those relationships that way.
And getting you outside of your element. Because here's the thing, if, I'm not as much, I think, with guys, but like women, there's a preconception of who a person is. Like they're this person, they walked in a month ago, they're new, I've been here 5 years, they're doing so-and-so, I'm doing this. And like but you never take the time to connect because they might have an RBF. I'm not gonna say that, spell that out if you don't know what that is. But you know what I mean?
I haven't had enough caffeine, but I'll figure it out.
Okay, you'll get it.
I watch
You'll
it
get
later
it.
on.
I'll do the act. Like, But then you do improv, say you do improv with this person, and they open up a little, you open up a little, they might be your bestie. They might become your work bestie because you've broken that wall that you think is between you just because you don't know each other.
Right.
So it's important.
That's actually a really good point too. When I think back on, I'm sure Justin, you have this experience too, teaching classes, especially like a level 1 class. I mean, people who take like a regular improv classes, it's such a huge range of people. I mean, I've taught, seniors in high school to retirees, business people, doctors, the whole 9 yards, and they're all in this level 1 class together. So
Yeah.
there's different generations, different industries, different everything. Nobody knows what the heck they're doing the first day.
Right.
But by the end of the class, they're all best friends because they went through and, have been connecting and doing improv with each other for the past several weeks. And, a lot of them stay friends
Well, and being
afterwards.
vulnerable with one another.
Right.
Like they're vulnerable, you're vulnerable, so you're going to be like clinging to strangers because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right, exactly.
So,
But that's why we tell them, hey, and even in the our client workshops too, I like to tell them at the beginning, hey, we might do some things that might be a little bit weird for, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but guess what? None of you have ever done this before, and you're all in the same boat. And I tell them, the more you just allow yourself to go for it and have fun and just dive in, the more fun you're going to have and the more you're going to get out of it. And that usually loosens them up a little bit.
I always forget to say that. I forget. Then we do something really silly in like the first 10 to 15 minutes, and I go, oh yeah, I forgot. Also, this is going to be really silly. Okay, back to it. You know what I mean? Like, just embrace that it's going to be silly and weird. It's okay. On top of all the other guarantees, I say that, we're not going to tell jokes and stuff like that. But I say, oh yeah, it's weird and silly. Sorry. Go ahead. Let's go back to the exercise now.
let's go back to that, yeah.
Yeah.
But you improved in the middle of your improv.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
impressive.
Always.
Have
And we were actually showing each other some different lesson plans. We do have a lesson plan, but we also can pivot and change. In fact, Chris and I recently did a workshop with that same professor at Cornell, because his class has grown from, I think, the first time I did it when I went up to Cornell, which is perfect for me because it's in the fall. And
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. And I'm also from nearby. Ithaca is near where I'm from, which is Binghamton, New York. So I get to go back and see my old hometown and
nice
see it
little
into the
drive.
fall. It's nice, yeah. And the last couple of years, I've also gotten to take my daughter to the pumpkin farm that I used to go to when I was a kid. So that's kind of neat.
That's cute.
Yeah. We take the pictures of the certain things, and there's like a little, like how tall she is. They have a little scale thing. That's kind of fun. Anyway, Chris and I were doing that, and because the group got so big, I think it was like 70 people or so, so
Yeah.
35 each. I got to work with one and one of the other professors that's actually co-teaching the thing, and then he went with Professor Antaki, who I've been working with for nearly, probably over a decade at this point. He was actually one of my very first corporate clients, because he read a book and he said, could this work for my biomedical engineering students? And I said, of course it can. Believe it or not the most challenging group to work with.
Well, that's good.
Masters of Accounting,
Yeah.
much more hard. Anyway, in their defense, it was 9 a.m. So we usually were a little later in the afternoon or in the morning. So we were doing a workshop, and like near the end, we were texting each other going, I cut this. Okay, like we had so much planned, in part because the way I've been working with Jim Antaki for all this time is we just planned so much. And then along the way, I know to cut. And we know, because we know how long things take with the number of people. We've been doing it long enough, we can go like, okay, we're not going to do this, we're going to do this. Sometimes I'll start because I've talked to a client, because we do everything custom, right? So they have specific goals, we have specific exercises. So a lot of times I'll star certain ones and go like, must do not skip, right?
Right.
Because I told the client that one, they're like, yes, we'll do that, definitely do that, So we do have certain ones we will do, and if we have to drop something or make something a little shorter, we can adjust it. But we try to make sure that everybody gets the exact same experience.
Yeah, along what he was saying about the customization, we don't just have, what you call like a, cookie cutter, you guys are a sales team, so here's our sales workshop.
Sure.
We meet with every client before we book, make sure we know exactly what they're looking to work on with their team, and then we go over kind of a game plan of how we can specifically help with their pain points.
That's good. And I think even in your bigger audiences, that's a great thing. I'm sure the small ones get the most because they're so hands-on.
I don't really want to. I don't want to really like brag, but I do have a smaller group than he worked with. And
You have
talk about
smaller
overplaying.
than 7?
I had 4.
Four.
It was a
That's
regional sales
intensive.
team, and they only had they all covered huge sales areas in the eastern part of the United States, And basically there were 4 of them, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I overplanned again. I just started to think, because I thought they'd get bored. And the feedback at the end was, no, we could have done that longer. And I was like, oh, okay. So I learned a lot. This is a long time ago, but yeah, I had 4.
Wow.
So are we ready to show our creations?
Yeah. I just made this last one here. I have no idea what this is. This is fun though. This has wheels.
Wow, nice.
Oh, the wheels. And I was like,
his is functional.
I wasn't even going to try to figure out how the wheels work.
Yeah. Well, you were talking. I was figuring them out.
And you have a turkey or a chicken?
Yeah. There we go. It's a churkin.
It's a churkin. It's adorable.
Is this Optimus Prime-ish kind of?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is kind of
that's
like a
like
robot
Robot
guy with shoulder pads.
I like the shoulder pads. It's
Robot
very-
football player.
With a baseball cap.
Right, yes, and he's also wearing a baseball hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hold them up there for the camera. You can see. That's a lot of blue, so maybe you can see it better.
I was looking up there.
What did you make, man?
You made a few things really quickly too.
So this is you guys.
Oh!
Christopher. And then Justin, this is you.
I'm writing
A giraffe.
a giraffe. Nice. Beautiful. Look at that.
So,
wow.
and you're leading the giraffe because giraffes get unruly. So see, you would just maybe hop in the car after.
That's
so
quite
awesome.
impressive from how you sold yourself at the beginning.
Yeah,
I
she
was
lowered
better with these.
expectations
I was better. I only dropped like 5 pieces
so
on
she
the
could
ground.
exceed them.
Solid structures today.
That's right.
And we all improvised. We didn't look at it. We
Nope,
look at
didn't
the
even
book.
open the book.
No,
So there you go.
it's because we don't like to script ourselves, right?
No,
No,
we don't
exactly.
really like it.
We have to do this kind of
Exactly.
thing.
We just followed our instincts.
And the chamber is going to be doing something with you, I think, in 2025. So we want to make sure that everybody out there knows that they should pay attention when these two roll into town. Because it's going to be a great pop-up lunch.
Yeah,
It
it'll be
is.
fun. Yeah,
It'll
we're
be a
looking
lot of
forward to
fun.
that.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
And is there anything else that you want to share with the business community that I haven't touched on today?
Our website, steelcityimprovtraining.com.
Training.com, that's right,
Check it out.
Go ahead.
That's the easiest way to contact us if you have some questions. And we usually try to get back to you within 48 hours, let you know, make a appointment with us to talk to us, either on Zoom or a phone call. And yeah, we're always excited to meet new people and see what their challenges are. And
For sure, yeah.
And this would be a great way to start the new year, especially if you're getting your team together once again, you're starting this new year, you've done the same, hi, and this is how our year is going to look projected, and we've done the programming here, and everybody's falling asleep and nothing feels shiny and new. Bring these guys in before, and then they're going to feel all empowered and ready to go. And then you can talk about your programming and what you want to do next.
Yeah,
add an element of fun.
Yeah, you touched on the perfect thing I say to all my clients. Whenever they tell us we're part of a multi-day thing, or like especially they're bringing in all their sales team from all around the country or something, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to have you on Thursday." I'm like, "What day does it start?" Tuesday. You should have us on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because every time we've been the last thing, the feedback is, I wish this was the first thing, because it opens people up. Speaking of those Masters of Accounting students that one time, which I think you were working that one, I think I had the toughest group. I was just like pulling teeth. But I had a trainee with me, so she could start them and I could start them when we did the exercises. Then they would join, but nobody would start some exercises.
Nobody was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm always that person now. Like, I just put myself, I'm like, I volunteer myself as a tribute.
There you
Always.
go. Perfect.
Well, and the one other thing you had said too is you mentioned fun, which I think is a good point for us. Is
It's also fun.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I like to tell people, it's not your father's corporate training workshop, right? Because it's something, because you can go out and do something fun with your team. Like you can go bowling, you can go axe throwing, and that's all well and good, and everybody has fun, but it's not really practical, right? So what we try to do is we try to have fun, get everybody up on their feet, laughing, interacting with each other, but they're also working and learning how to communicate more effectively with each other and work better together as a team while they're having fun. So it's you get a little bit of both.
Yeah,
So.
I think business should be fun for the most part. I mean, there's moments to be serious, and then there's moments to lighten up and learn how to talk to one another and work with different personality types. So I think you guys are doing a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll have you in soon to do something fun with our people, who are already fun. You're already fun.
Already fun.
I've been
That's how you
prepping them
know.
for years. So, all right. Well, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on today.
Thanks for having
We'll
us.
make sure to share out their information with everybody so they know how to contact you. And thanks again for watching the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. I'm Mandy Pryor, and we hope to see you at an event soon. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.